All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 669 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And I started to talk about some Georgia Southern today. I really did. I was kind of excited about the Ball State game, but I wanted to focus more in on the Falcons because I think the Falcons situation is a bigger deal than what Georgia Southern has going on. Yes, Georgia Southern did lose to Wisconsin. In some areas of the country, you could say that was expected. So I'm not making a big deal out of it, even though I felt like it would have been a big deal if we won, a really big deal. But let's look at these Falcons. They're 2-0 right now, but they have a long way to go. Yes, they're playing good football and it look like this really good sustainable football, but I feel like there's a lot riding on what the Falcons are doing this season. So we're going to talk about that and just continue to press on. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. The website is firstandframerates.com, and I could be found on X at VF Baller. Let's just get straight into it because, I mean, I can't thank you guys enough for the support. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. But let's get into it. Falcons are 2-0, and the season schedule is not as tough as it seems. Yes, we have some teams that can beat us. I mean, you can get beat on any given Sunday, but I really feel like we are in a driver's seat and can make some things happen. So we're going up against the Lions this coming Saturday. Well, I'm sorry, this coming Sunday, and then we're going to London, then back to the Texans. So those are the next three games. Focusing on the Lions, it looks like that we have a chance to go in there and win that game. They have a couple of banged up players. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. But when you just look at what this team is built off of, the running game, not having Desmond Ridder to do too much, we just want him to play football, find ways to win, not necessarily, hey, we need you to put us in position to win. The defense has been lights out in the fourth quarter. This is sustainable football because it's instinctive football. Not only that is instinctive football, it's instinctive football predicated on assignment football. Learning how to block for your running backs, learning how to find the gaps in the ways that Desmond Ridder needs to throw the ball into certain windows so the defense don't get the ball. Defense is finding ways to stop the offense in crucial moments. Those are things that are very basic, simple, and in some cases not even desirable football, but it's very effective. Because when I say desirable, a lot of people want to look at flashy football, throwing the ball 60 yards, watching Bijan Robinson juke everybody, which that's going to come naturally. But when you watch how Tyler Algier just run over people, Kyle Pitts and Drake London getting phenomenal catches, the catch that Matt Collins had. Those are the type of things that we want to see. And those things are going to come. All we have to do is just play our game. If we play our game and execute at the highest level, those moments are going to happen. We shouldn't just push for them. Just let it come to us. So there's a lot of work into getting to that. There's a lot of work into just executing and running your game plan to perfection every time you go out there. Things may not go right. Some defenses may play different schemes. Some offenses may get the better of what the Falcons are doing, but you have to go and continue to make a play. I mean, there's cases where you have 78, 80, 85 plays a game. You would want at least 80. I know that's a very high number. At least 80 to, I go a lower number, maybe 75 of those plays to be in the positive. Maybe 5 or 10 plays to be in a negative, so like, okay, that didn't work. But it's just going to be a long, hard, drawn out situation to get through these teams. And I'm looking at the schedule, and yeah, it doesn't look as intimidating, but when you look at some of these teams, they can get us at any time. The Packers, I thought the Packers were going to be a much easier game because we're playing at home, and the Packers almost beat us. I didn't too much about the Panthers with Bryce Young, and he has an injury. You don't know when he's coming back. That kind of sucks. And speaking of injuries, man, the injury bug is catching a handful of teams. I don't like to speak on injuries. I don't like to talk about them, but it could be really a nightmare for certain players, and I really, really, really hate to see that. So I'll just leave that. I'll just leave it at that. But when you look at the rest of this schedule, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to say that it's not. It's going to be tough, but at the same time, you just have to find a way to say, look, this is what it's going to be about. We need to go out there and play our game. We don't need to worry about what Jeff Goff is doing. Don't need to worry about what CJ Stroud's going to do. We don't need to worry about what Mike Evans is going to do or Derek Carr or, we don't need to worry about if Anthony Richardson's going to be playing later on this season, what the Bears are going to look like. We don't, even with the quarterback for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, we don't need to worry about what none of those teams are doing. We just need to play our game. Yeah, there are going to be some players to look out for to try to neutralize them, but for the most part, we don't need to worry about none of that. I don't say we don't need to worry about. It's just we need to focus more on what we do as the Falcons. So I'm just gonna tell you, it's a long way to go. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be entertaining for the most part. There are going to be some times that make you want to pull your hair out. Luckily, you got guys like Bijan Robinson and others who can be a flash in the pan to give us some balance to that. But just be prepared that it's going to be a long road for this team to get 7 more wins. It's going to be a long road for these guys to get at least 7 more wins. And you understand why I say 7 more wins, because that's a winning season. I don't think the Falcons had a winning season since the Super Bowl season. So, yes, I'm hyped. Don't get me wrong. I love what I see here. I love what's going on here. And but a little bit of me is kind of trying to keep things tempered, keep it level and even keep an even keel, because, and not necessarily I don't want to be I don't want to be heartbroken, I don't want to be devastated, but it's just the reality of it. The Falcons, have every piece of the puzzle to actually go far this season. I mean, if you really look at this schedule, it's a possibility that they can win, like I said before, 14 games. And I'm not joking when I say that. I mean, I said if Desmond Ridder gets on a roll where he could play, or if they play if they play like they played in the fourth quarter, the last 2 games, if they play like that for most of their games, they're winning. They're going like 14-3. They're going to, like, you know what I'm saying? They're going like, 13-4. And I stand by that. I mean, those 2 fourth quarters that they had against the Panthers and the Packers were like lights out. You're talking about a team on average only gives up maybe 50 yards, a game. You know what I'm saying? Or 100 yards, 100 plus yards a game, because that defense was extremely effective. And that's almost unreal. I mean, you're talking about almost like 2,000 Ravens defense, but the fourth quarter, Green Bay only gave up 11 yards. They only had 11 yards, not 1 first down. So you just have to understand that things can gel within the season. And if these guys go on a real run, not just these 2-0, it's nice to go 2-0. But if these guys go on like a 5, 6, 7 game run sometime this season, you're talking about a team that's going to win like 9, 10, 11, 12 games. I mean, just look at the schedule. And I'm not trying to say that these teams are bad, because you can be beat by any team at any time. But this schedule is extremely favorable. Extremely favorable. And I'm not saying that, to be, biased. I'm really looking at this. You talk about the top 5 teams, and I think I really don't want to quote this guy. I really, really don't. I don't want to quote this guy because I did a video on him a while back about Cody Benjamin. I don't like this guy because he claimed that we had the worst roster last year and we ended up going 7-10, was in the middle of the pack. But now when we look at Cody Benjamin now, he has us at number 8 in his rankings, which I still don't hold that any weight, because I think he's a prisoner of the moment. If we're 0-2 or we're 1-1, he wouldn't think this way. And we could have been playing the same type of football. But wins and losses count. I get it. But when you look at these teams that are up here in Cody Benjamin's list, number 1, Cowboys, 2 49ers, 3 Dolphins, 4 Eagles, 5 Ravens. The top 5, we don't even play those teams this year. That's in his list. And then, to be honest, those top 5 teams are pretty much in everybody's top power rankings, and we don't touch those teams at all this year. The biggest threat that I saw on this list obviously was the Saints, because that's a rival, and the Jets. Because when you look at the Jets had Aaron Rodgers, but now they don't. So that's a wash. So, like I said, the top 5 teams in the league are not even on our schedule. Now we have a situation where the rest of these teams are like middle of the pack teams. We play like we did, we could go 14-3, because we're going to lose some games. We're not going undefeated. I mean, that's unheard of. But I'm just being honest. The Vikings and the Saints, and I will say this. Before I get out of here. The Buccaneers, the way Baker Mayfield is playing, they are a threat too. So I say we split one with the Buccaneers, split one with the Saints, and we may lose a game. We may lose against the Vikings. So that's 14-3. But maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Y'all let me know. They have a long way to go. Let me know what your thoughts. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Am I thinking too far ahead of myself? Do I know what I'm talking about? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comment section. Hit me up on X or Twitter at VFBaller. The website is firstandframerates.com. YouTube, Rumble, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. And let me know what you guys think, because maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think I made a pretty good case that these guys got their work cut out for them, but it's not going to be easy even with the schedule. I don't know if you guys hear my son in the background. He is extremely excited. He's watching something on TV, but it's time for him to go to bed. It's time for me to go to bed, because I got to get up in the morning, get some work done, and also get ready for the next episode of this podcast. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.